Hi everyone, and welcome to Seal of Approval, and the first seal of approval for the wonderful year that is 2021. As you can see, that there is now actual Seal of Approval logo branding on the stream because I've decided to pay that little bit extra for StreamYard because, like I'm enjoying using StreamYard, but I like the idea of being able to customize it, so there will always be a seal on the screen from now on. And also like it has this awesome ability where hold on, what do you do? Here you go. So I don't know whether this is showing up on everyone's screen, but you can upload videos to it, and you can just kind of click a button, and it plays a seal.
Oh, you have a seal button now. That's very useful.
Yes. So it's this. Is it showing up for you guys?
Yeah, I can see it.
Good.
It's over the entire screen, but yeah.
Yes, it's the. So whenever I feel like it, I can just press that button and you get a seal being driven around by a guy in a mandrill mask, which is worth the price of admission. But anyway, joining me this week, as always, is my trusty Scrump. How are you, sir?
I'm pretty good. I have like a moment of panic whenever you talk to me. It's like, oh wait, am I still muted? Every time, but I'm okay. I'm a little bit. I was a little bit out of the loop. I've been kind of paying attention to the chaos, the sweet chaos, but I'm not as immersed in the chaos as I usually am because I've been busy. Over Christmas, over New Year's, seeing family, and then seeing other people. Like I've actually been seeing people, which is illegal here in this country.
Breaking the law. How dare you have friends?
I'm having a legal friend time. Yes.
And also joining us this week is Undoomed in his first appearance on Seal of Approval. How are you?
I'm doing good. Just enjoying being here.
And we also have returning guest Trig.
Hey, Rose. How is he?
Hey.
Thanks for having me on again.
That's no worries. So, we were going to go live last week, but that didn't happen, and it kind of feels almost like a mistake because as soon as it kind of hits 8 p.m. over here, which is the time we go live, just the world's lamest boogaloo happens, and so we would have spent all of I think we probably would have, if we had gone live last week, I think we would have spent the entire show just kind of doing a running commentary, but I suppose you probably would have yeeted us.
There was so many people live at that point, and yeah, they were yeeting channels, and no, everyone was streaming about that.
It was insane.
Horrendous. It was
yeah. You probably would have
idiotic thing I've seen for quite a while.
I don't know if I should say this or not, but I ended up in a very surreal voice chat for a little bit on Sargon's server where I had a V ranting at JonTron about optics. It was really weird. I felt like I was having a fever dream. That's a bit weird even for me, and I'm immersed in the weird.
So before we kind of go into I know that this topic has probably been talked about to death, considering it seems to be the main focus of the world about this, the world's crappiest coup, if you can even call it that. But Scrump, I'm actually, because I have not talked to you about this. And so I'm interested in what your thoughts actually were on everything which went down.
I think the overreaction to it is the real story, as we'll probably come to. But I think that the establishment shit themselves because the ineffectual LARPers they were hoping to use as an excuse for all of this. Because this wasn't like the militia people. This was people like Baked fucking Alaska. Baked Alaska is a bigger joke than Andy Warski is. And he's so inside baseball in terms of the obscure online grifters that it's kind of amazing to see him pop back up like this in mainstream news. It's the white, the Capitol building was invaded by people like Baked fucking Alaska. If this is the standard of security that the US establishment holds it to, if there's any serious effort, they are fucked. I don't think this was a coup attempt, really. This was people at a protest, and the security just kind of dissolved before them. There's a lot of
dissolved. They opened the gates and let them in during Trump's speech. It was Q-tards, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, it was a lot of conspiraboomers and laughers. No one who was serious was actually there. I hate to use the word orchestrated, but they didn't breach the Capitol. They were essentially let in, and not much was done. I know a few people were hurt and killed, but like no congressmen or no members of government were actually killed. There was a few altercations with the police, as would be expected with a large amount of people entering the Capitol building when they're really not supposed to be, supposedly. But there's been orchestrated protests in like the lobby of the Capitol building before. There was a very orchestrated one with the whole Kavanaugh thing. It feels like political theater. Is what it feels like. And it feels like it filled the role it was supposed to, but it also feels like it went a lot further than they were expecting it to.
Yes.
I think that they just expected them to be a few scuffles, a few people in the foyer, and they could use that as pretext. But no, they got into places they really weren't supposed to get into. And
they stole Nancy Pelosi's laptop. AOC's shoes were stolen.
Really?
Yeah, apparently she tweeted about it. Like she had like a shoe tree or something, like they were all stolen. So like, this is the kind of people who apparently led this insurrection. Like
I knew about that, and I've not had time. I need to make there's like a Doge feet meme. I need to make about that. There's going to be like illegal black market AOC shoes, and we all know why people are going to want to buy AOC shoes.
Yes.
Let's not kid ourselves.
But like, this is the level. This is the level of that one. Honestly, like if I understand why they're pushing the whole insurrection angle, because they want to make it out.
They got it served up on a platter.
Oh, absolutely. But at the same time, this just looks hilariously bad for America, because these are the people who apparently were this close to overthrowing your entire democracy. A guy dressed as a Viking, another guy dressed as a caveman. You had like the old woman who basically looked like she was wearing pajamas, a foot fetishist, baked Alaska. Like, you know, they're not sending their best.
That's for sure. Somebody needs to get fired. I mean, I guess the chief of police stepped down or something, but you know, somebody fell asleep on the job for sure.
Well, speaking of the chief of police, did you see who replaced him?
No.
Oh, so it was. Let me just kind of pull it up. Oh god damn it! Oh yes. Basically, I didn't really know a lot about her. Just the headlines. You know, so she's been a police officer for decades at this point. She's worked her way to the top. What's her name? Black woman. Like, in fact, if you just look at everything, it's like black woman. It's like, she's the one, like, she's done all of that work.
Oh, right.
That's sad.
And they just refer to her as black woman. Like,
is that all she is?
That's the way. That's
generic.
Generic black woman takes power.
They're so desperate for that. Yeah. Yeah. Like they're so desperate for those kind of woke points that something like that, they literally are just reducing her to a race. Like, yeah, by all means, if she's the first black female chief of police, and mention it, and but don't run with that as the headline, because all you're saying is that is who she is to you. That's all she is.
Yeah.
But of course, these are the arguments that the progressives should be making, but for some reason they never do.
They're happy just saying that. As long as they get to say black woman, it's fine.
I guess my kind of final part of the take on the whole Capitol invasion thing is that this is just another notch on the speed of the accelerationism, and I don't think that the people now trying to basically remove any kind of outlet 75 million Americans have for their democratic output is wise. I will just say that. I don't know. Like, I hate to be the optics posting guy to go into the inside baseball, but there's a lot of things you really can't say. And really, I think the time for saying a lot of things in public seems to be kind of past. A lot of this is going to be decided behind closed doors with a small amount of people, whether we like that or not. And maybe not necessarily democratically. But I don't know. What's your real take on all of this, Undoomed? Like from what you've seen?
I mean,
No,
you're
but
the
I agree
guy
that
in America.
we certainly didn't expect for 5 years ago to be basically living in the Soviet Union, but here we are. The time has passed. You have to watch everything you say. Anything you say can be used against you and basically get you deleted off of everything. And it's kind of like an electronic death sentence, because at least if you do something illegal, you get a sentence and then you're out. But when you're deleted, they take your digital life away from you forever, which I think is something we're going to have to deal with. Like, is it really reasonable for someone says, I don't know, the N word or something, and that means banning for life when you can beat someone half to death and be out in 5 years.
This reminds me of something which Scrump shared with me earlier about generally this is the kind of world which 2021 is going to be shaped by. So no, we'll be fine. Just wanted to let Americans know that AIG cancelled our insurance due to my social media profile. Now, in the UK, people have been doing that. Well, not so much social media profile, but like there's certainly been people like Tommy Robinson. I think there was a few other people who were connected with I can't quite remember their name, Patriotic Alternative, who said that their bank accounts have been closed due to who they are. I mean, there isn't really any way to verify all of that because this is just them making statements, but It's not an unheard of thing to happen. And technically, a bank can close your account and never provide you a reason. Like banks are flat out allowed to do that. But the thing is, they've never really done that.
No, they've never done it, and it's also nowadays you can't just go by having cash. You have to have some sort of debit card or something.
Yeah, especially in this cashless society that we're moving towards, where everything's being done by contactless, where where lots of places now, thanks to COVID, aren't even accepting cash. They will only accept electronic payments and no other alternative. So when you start to remove people's banking opportunities, when that's an even more egregious attack on someone than simply removing them from social media. I mean, social media is removing their voice, but removing their bank accounts at this point in human history, that is akin to removing them completely from society.
Yeah, you can bet your ass they have some sort of database for that they can share amongst all the companies. So you can't just switch to another bank or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, technically, it's not none of this. If your bank closes your account, technically that shouldn't impact you opening a new one. However, like the banks still talk to each other, and if one is going to close you for a social media profile, then you can guarantee that other banks hold a similar position.
Yeah, they'll probably make a note in that database or something.
Yeah,
and then when you go to the next bank, they take a look at your entry there, and no, I think we'll pass.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I've no idea how the banking system works in America, but absolutely, I would be shocked if there wasn't some sort of database in which people's details are put on their information.
I have no idea how it actually works either. I'm just guessing, but
yeah. And yet, this is the thing is they're doing it all now because they know they're going to get away with it. Democrats are not going to pull up any of these companies for it. The way in which, especially now that Biden's won, I can see that Trump, if anything, has been more of an exhilarationist for what deep state actually wants to do. And I hate using phrases like deep state because it sounds conspiratorial, but I don't know what other way to describe it.
That's the problem is that any word used for it will be it's how they use the whole conspiracy theory thing in general.
Yeah,
I'm sure you can testify more to this, Trig. But the whole not to shill, but we did do a whole episode on that.
No, conspiracy theories are my thing. No, I you know what I can see this pushing people towards. I know there are a couple of debit/credit cards being brought out that work on crypto.
Yeah.
And I can see people having to move to that type of thing at some point in the future, and all because of what is the worst attempt at a Reichstag fire. It was Reichstag barbecue. It was
Yeah.
it literally at most, and it's being used for as much political gain as they can get out of it.
Yeah.
It's not even a proper barbecue. One of those little square disposable barbecues that never
Yeah.
light, like in Tesco.
Yeah.
You know?
It just kind of fizzled out.
Oh, yeah, people that knew how to grill weren't involved.
I just want it grilled.
I no longer wish to grill.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. Like all of it just feels incredibly convenient. Like they're trying. You've seen people trying to compare this to, like you said, the Reichstag. You had Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to compare it to Kristallnacht,
Right.
which is again, which is an insane analogy, because Kristallnacht involved, like, I can't even remember like exactly how many people were murdered.
It was it was also the destruction of Jewish-owned businesses, which is kind of, I don't know, a more analogous thing to Kristallnacht would be the destruction of businesses and the people putting out signs saying this is a black-owned business kind of thing. A lot of the BLM stuff has more parallels to Kristallnacht than anything, but that's a bit of a tangent.
Well, you're effectively allowing a narrative to come out that a certain group of the population are inherently dangerous to the rest of society. You allow a night of violence against it. And then on top of that, you bring in further legislation to oppress said people. I mean, that in a nutshell is Kristallnacht, except the Democrats are, like, I know Schwarzenegger isn't a Democrat, but these people seem to have the analogy all wrong. Like, it's more apt to actually compare it to the treatment of, like, Republicans, which is still a bizarre, like, it's still, like, not a realistic or decent take. Just in case someone tries to take it out of context, like I'm saying,
it's like Harry Potter.
This isn't.
Instead of reading another history book, is what it is.
Yeah. It's like, no, you can't, you shouldn't compare it to something like that. You can't just bring in Holocaust examples whenever you want to talk about Drumpf or the MAGA tards. Like, you can't, like, the analogy just simply doesn't fit. It's not the same level.
It's pointless. It's just, what I don't like about it is the hypocrisy. I mean, there were looting and burning and rioting for 3 months, and that was fine. But now it's the fucking end of the world. I don't like either of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think it was a good thing for Congress to be breachable like that. But, you know, it's also hypocritical to say it's the end of the world.
Oh, far from the end of the world. The world has been in far worse situations than it is at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
For the fact that we've got a 24-second media cycle.
24-second.
Well, it used to be 24 hours, didn't it? It's a lot quicker now. Twitter makes everything worse. Which
I just said that on Twitter like yesterday or something. Social media is the most dangerous invention ever invented, including the atomic bomb.
Yeah,
I tend to agree.
I mean, that's. I mean, I actually think, in terms of, like, a destruction of society, I mean, like, the use of nuclear weapons would be the entire end of civilization.
But it's also kept us safe.
Yeah, I was going to say, it has kept the world at a state of relative peace for a long time. The threat of that.
I mean, like, last week I ended up going on one of my kind of annual, at this point, I ended up going on kind of binges of watching stuff about, like, especially like the Cold War and the fear of the bomb. So I ended up watching things like Protect and Survive and Freds. Like all the really happy stuff that just shows how wonderful things will be when the bomb drops. And especially in Freds, where you just see society decaying to the point where people don't even know how to talk anymore, because there's a combination of no education system, and all the children being born are, like, mentally stunted thanks to radiation. And I suppose in a way, social media does kind of stunt your brain. Like
Probably,
it does,
yeah.
it does
Oh, yeah.
impact the way in which you talk to people. It changes it because anything that you say can get jumped down on. Anything, any kind of mistake is there on the internet for good. It encourages toxicity. It allows people to basically kind of ruin people's lives if they don't like them, or like you seem to have that kind of mob mentality 24/7. And I think everyone who goes on social media is guilty of this. Everyone is guilty of being a part of a mob at one point or another. And I think
everything is performative.
yes,
Oh yeah.
it is. It's all so much of. Sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. So much of it is performative. Like all.
Like I don't think social media itself is the problem. I think that the fact that the entire internet has become social media is a symptom of the tech monopolies. Twitter has existed for many years. Twitter existed since 2008, 2009,
2007.
At least, probably, even earlier, yeah.
All these sites have existed for a long time. Facebook's been huge for years, but its toxic effects has only really been amplified by one, the tech monopolies, and two, the kind of hand-in-glove relationship between the media establishment, the political establishment, and the social media companies and the tech giants. It's all symptoms. Like social media doesn't have to be like this. Twitter wasn't like this in even 2014. I hate to bring up the Gamergate word, but I think really one of the turning points on Twitter was something like Gamergate, when something happened that the establishment didn't approve of, and they took active steps to suppress it on a very large level. I think that was one of the first times that really happened on social media to an extreme degree, because social media until relatively recently, and really until the 2016 election, wasn't really seen as too much of a factor. It was seen as, people wrote think pieces about the Arab Spring and the role of Twitter, and they all patted themselves on the back about how good for democracy they were. But no one really saw it as a serious political tool until then, until 2016, and until the plan went a bit wrong, and Hillary didn't win as she was supposed to.
Well, I mean, they did attribute a large portion of Obama's success to Twitter.
They did, yes, but there wasn't the mass censorship of, say, Romney or McCain supporters on Twitter. There wasn't this heightened, almost paranoid screeching until the last 4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much worse things have got measurably since then. Even not just from what you can say, but just I think the way the sites have structured has become more engineered to make people closed off in bubbles. It's not just the existence of social media, it's the social media companies and how they've curated these environments. I think they can quite happily have forms of social media without them being anywhere near as destructive. It is a small set of monoliths attempting to control people for political gains. That's why we are where we are.
But also bear in mind that this has coincided with the rise of the smartphone. So in the past, if you were using something like MySpace or Bebo or any of the old social media sites, you'd have to be on your computer. And so you'd check it maybe once a day, but you wouldn't spend all that much time on it. Whereas now we all have smartphones. So we have access to all of this 24/7. Especially when you combine and then you have the last year where if it wasn't for social media, I would it's unlikely I really would have spoke with that many people at all. Everyone who I speak to, it's either through Facebook, Discord, or Twitter, really.
Well,
there isn't anyone I speak to outside of those.
I'm going to say, I don't, even when I was bigger on Twitter, even when I had more of a Twitter presence, unless I was going away for a long time, I never kept Twitter on my phone. I never had it on my phone, even when I had more than 10,000.
I have it on my phone, but I never use it on my phone except for very rare occasions.
I think the problem is people don't have any self-discipline, and they don't recognize that certain behaviors aren't good for them. People aren't powerless. They aren't passive active in their own lives. Yes, it's very tempting, and yes, people think they should have it. And yes, these are now default apps on people's phones, which doesn't help. But to paraphrase Tyler the Creator, walk away from the screen, close your eyes. I'm leaving out a lot of gaming words there. That tweet's still up, by the way, and it's still one of the best tweets on the website. Look up Tyler Creator, how is cyberbullying real? Because I use that all the time, just to quote at people. But
he's right. Just walk away, switch the computer off, go and read a book, watch TV, anything. It's that dopamine kick of, oh, someone liked that thing that I said.
Right. Yeah, during Christmas, there was probably 10 days I wasn't even on Twitter a single moment. It was pretty nice. Yeah,
I can imagine. I live on Discord these days.
Yeah, I just didn't go on any social media for like 10 days. That's pretty refreshing.
Yeah, I definitely need to have more breaks like that. Let me just bring up the. There we go. Just walk away from the screen.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Hopefully that doesn't impact on your stream.
It is true.
Publicly available. This is a publicly available tweet still, by the way, from a verified Twitter account. So
yeah, this is from a real person. But no, it's easy to get sucked in to the kind of the social media bubble, and I think a lot of people probably don't like to admit it, but there is kind of a bit of an addiction to it. But really,
they count on that.
Without a doubt.
They count on it.
Yeah. That it is actually just designed to be addictive.
Yes. Oh, I thought you said that you were doubting that it was an addiction.
No. It's designed to be addictive. They have studies and shit to make it more addictive. Yeah. I mean, now it's obviously something they don't want to talk about, but in the beginning they talked openly about that.
Yeah. I mean, I initially started using my Twitter account simply as nothing more of a way of just advertising my YouTube channel. That was the whole reason why I joined Twitter in the first place. And now,
me too.
Yeah, and now I'm on there, I'm on there so often. I mean, I've got a lot of followers on Twitter now. I've got nearly 18,000. I didn't lose that many due to the purge. Although, one thing which did kind of make me think, about Twitter, really, is a tweet that I sent out a few days ago. Let me just bring it up, which seems to be weirdly popular. And I ended up getting really annoyed at the amount of people who were kind of the amount of likes that pop up on it. So there's this one about Nikocado Avocado. It was literally just a, it's a before and after. It's kind of a funny tweet. But then when you started to get loads and loads and loads of people, kind of responding to it, eventually I kind of thought, well, so what? Wow, you sent
it's
out lots of people responding to it. Is that really going to be the highlight of my week?
Right. It's like the dog that finally catches the ambulance. Now what?
Yeah. I will admit, as someone who uses Twitter a lot, there's always that kind of idea of a thrill that when you have something that goes viral, lots of people get your attention, and there's definitely something to that, which is a bit alluring. But then when you kind of achieve it, you just think, well, how is that going to change my life? Well, it isn't. No. A lot of my thoughts on a lot of stuff, really, which is going to sound really strange, they kind of changed after I watched Pixar's latest film, Soul. I'm not going to say it's an amazing film, but effectively the point of the film is talking about what is it that you want to get out of life. And so the main character in it, he wants to be a jazz musician, and all these shenanigans happen, and eventually he becomes a jazz musician, and he's well, I did it, but my life hasn't really changed all that much. I'm just doing this thing. It's not really giving him meaning.
Right.
And what did give his life meaning are all the small things along the way. Right. Seeing friends, having something nice to eat, going to see nice sights, And it's kind of annoying that I kind of get and learn that message at a time where we're not actually allowed to do any of those things by the law.
Yeah, what is your situation now anyhow? Are you even allowed to go outside or?
At the moment, we aren't allowed, like we can only leave the house for exercise or to do essential shopping, but apparently that's not enough for all the lockdown zealots in our country, and so the government is going to be looking at bringing in even more restrictions.
What more is there?
Well,
talking about curfews, they're talking about mandating masks outdoors,
yeah,
which is
Like,
Where your muzzle is.
Yeah.
What that
yeah, like when it comes to wearing a mask in store, like fine, whatever, but wearing a mask outside is kind of like that's a hard limit for me because that's just stupid.
right.
That
I
is
mean,
really
it's like that lady that they arrested sitting on a park bench somewhere. Like,
Yes.
okay, she was fine before, but now there's 13 cops who's going to infect her.
yeah.
Yep, that was
Yeah.
Brighton. A little old lady having a cup of coffee, sat on a park bench watching the sea.
Yeah.
Yep.
No one,
yeah.
no one around. Like,
Yeah, and
just sitting there, like, okay, now you're infecting everyone.
this is what's like this is all happening back in April. You would because I was in London at the time. I was living in London at the time, and there was a nearby park where police would actually drive through in a police van with a megaphone yelling at people if they sat down. And so you could only go to the park if you were basically jogging through it. Like if you were standing still or sitting down or anything like that, the police would question why you were there in the first place.
Why can't your police ever be reasonable?
They're not, like our police are genuinely terrible. When you looked at when the BLM riots back in June, where they were kneeling to them and they were running away.
Yeah,
and
and before you had all those Twitter arrests and all that shit, and then when COVID came out, they were like, yes, something new to crack down on.
Yeah. They go for they seem to just go for the easiest options available to them. The kind of thing which, like a lot of British people are, I don't know, like the British attitude to a lot of things is to just moan. Right, we're not the kind of people that are going to try and overthrow the government over anything. I think that we like, even if they stopped Brexit, I don't think that would have. I think all that would have done is they would have annoyed a load of people,
right?
But then they would just grumble about it for a really long time. That's generally the way that the British kind of deal with things. So if you can arrest those people, the worst that's going to happen to you is you're just going to have grumbled. Whereas if you're going after somebody with a knife, well, you could get harmed yourself, or there could be some political repercussions in case the person with the knife gets harmed, or you could have an MP go on TV talking about that arrest. And so they don't have an easy job when it comes to dealing with actual crime. Like the system isn't really set up for them to do it well. But if they're able to just go out and issue fines to people for sitting on a bench, that's unbelievably easy. Mm-hmm. And a lot of police, and a lot of police are targeted as well for the amount of fines that they give out. So they're absolutely loving this.
Well, yeah, those fines go towards funding the police as well. I mean, they are literally incentivized to go out and find as many people as possible.
Yeah. So just before we continue, I just noticed there's a couple of super chats have come in. So just going to go over those. Architect of Fate with the $5. Scrump, are you still traumatized by the video of what Trig did to Irish couch potato? Absolute bad dragon degeneracy. What was this?
What?
That's a lot of an inside joke.
Yeah.
That's several layers of inside joke is what that is.
That is, yeah.
Kizza GT with the £5. Scrump, remember the counter Uri plan: moralization, stabilization, secureness, normalization. Kizza was right.
Oh yeah, he's talking about the opposite of the Bezmenov stuff. Yeah. Basically, a reverse Bezmenov. It's how to rebuild the country. It's interesting. No, it's I gotta, that was from like a year ago, Christ. But no, that's a message from someone I was talking to on Discord, who's pretty cool. Who was talking about basically if Yuri Bezmenov produces a pattern of how to demoralize and destabilize the country, then working it in reverse is a pattern of how to moralize and restabilize the country, which I thought was quite an interesting hypothesis. No. I've been ruminating on that for a bit, and I need to put something together about that actually because it's quite a neat concept.
So kick the spike with €3.49 with a little picture of a pair doing a kiss. Cute, thank you. EC90 with the £5. Could you imagine in 2016 if one of Trump's sons had the same pics freely available on Twitter to see as Hunter did? Well, in 2016, I think Twitter in 2020 is different to Twitter in 2016. Like in Twitter 2016, they probably still, like, if it had been, one of the Clinton children, they wouldn't have been so harsh on it because, again, a lot of these people genuinely thought they had 2016 in the bag. That win was never supposed to happen. So they probably would have just, if it had been Clinton in 2016, then they probably would have just let it slide because they would think, well, what's the worst that can happen? Like, Trump's never going to be president. But if it was in 2020, if it had been Donald Trump Jr. or any of the other Trumps, they 100% wouldn't have deleted it. They would have allowed it to trend. It would have been number one in trending. Oh, yeah. There's no way. I mean, the amount of kind of Trump leaks or whatever that they allowed on the platform just fine in comparison to Hunter. Like they one of the big problems with all that when they said that this is private information, they don't apply it evenly. They openly don't apply it evenly, and that's where the controversy lies. So in 2020, absolutely they would have allowed it to run if it was Donald Trump Jr., but not.
Yeah, I think Jack was probably a free speech guy in the beginning, but he was radicalized.
Yeah, but you've got, I don't know if you guys caught the thing today. Facebook is taking a dive on their stock market value. They've lost 30 billion in the last.
Have you seen why though?
Yeah, and I was about to say, and the reason why is because big companies are pulling out because they're saying that you're not prosecuting hate speech hard enough. So that sort of a pressure is horrendous because you know what Facebook are going to do. Well, in fact, their first thing they said is they're going to start tagging politicians for hate speech now.
Yeah,
right.
So they are now the arbiters of what even politicians can and cannot say.
Well, that's sure. Yeah.
And they have already started the mass clampdown on conservatives. Facebook. They targeted the Walk Away campaign. They completely yeeted them off the platform. And they're really not that controversial. They're kind of, they're kind of tame, really. But that's the whole point of them. But they were deemed to be a hateful group. And then of course there was Ron Paul.
Ron Paul's such a decent guy.
Yep.
Banning him that's craziness.
I'm going to say, wait, they banned Ron. I missed that. They banned Ron Paul?
Yeah, off Facebook.
Yes, they did.
Ron Paul is the most even-handed and even-minded politician of like the last 30 years.
At least.
Ron Paul is an incredible testament. Like, he's the sort of person you're not supposed to get anywhere near government anymore. It's amazing that he's had the political career he has.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There we go.
He's a libertarian, like, intellectual.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about that. That's crazy.
I'm baffled by that. That just shows how dragnet it is and how little. I think talking about uneven treatment and pointing to the TOS is kind of pointless at this stage.
Yeah,
what you have to say is you have to show this is a concerted pattern of behavior and an alliance between, the Democrats, other governments worldwide, big tech, and other interests to completely shut out anyone they disagree with from the political process, and even just from having any presence online.
And they proved a week ago that they are more powerful than the president. So we've given up power on everything.
Yeah.
Even Angela Merkel went I don't like the big tech being able to do this.
Yeah.
Maybe she was a bit jealous about her
when
job.
Angela Merkel goes, hold on, you might have gone too far into Nazi territory.
Yeah, and Macron condemned it as well.
Uh-huh.
Boris didn't. I think Michael Gove might have said like, oh yeah, they shouldn't be censoring, but who gives a shit about what Michael Gove says?
I don't know what his role is.
Exactly.
He's our education secretary. Yeah, neither is he. Is he still
So he's
education
what?
I don't think
know.
so. I don't know what he does.
I don't. You see, we don't even fucking know.
He's some guy.
But then there are some places that are fighting back against the tyranny of I'm about to say tranny then tyranny of social media. So North Idaho blocks Facebook and Twitter due to censorship concerns. the corporate begun the corporate war has.
That's kind of ironic, but okay.
But then, like, my absolute favorite one, I'm sure you've all heard of this.
Are we doing Uganda now?
We're doing Uganda.
Excellent.
Oh, we need to watch. Who
Uganda.
shot Captain Alex on Amazon Prime? We have to watch that at some point.
Oh God, I've watched bits of Who Shot Captain Alex. Like, I think the weird thing with a lot of Ugandan cinema is they have like these kind of commentary tracks over the top of the films with like really, really excitable, thick accent Ugandans just yelling at the screen.
Yeah, that's what's great about it.
Yeah, I know. It's much must-watch cinema. It's a unique cultural thing, which is just bizarrely entertaining. But yeah.
Oh, you guys saw that they just banned Brick for mentioning Uganda?
Oh, is that why he was banned?
Yeah.
Oh, like what? Just for mentioning that Uganda is banned.
No, he sent out a tweet says like, "Oh, you don't like censorship Twitter? Build your own Uganda or make your own Uganda."
Oh, God damn it!
And yeah, they didn't like that at all.
Nice.
I'm gonna say we need to get through this entire section without doing something in particular, but I'm not going to say what it is, otherwise people will do it.
I've been restraining myself.
Don't do it, Craig. I don't do it. I can see chat doing it. Chat, I'm very disappointed in you. Okay, that's an old meme. It's an old meme and should not be revived.
It's old and dead. Leave it be.
Yeah, okay, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh God. Uganda banning them. I mean, there's a lot of I think Twitter then did like a really it's a really smarmy tweet about how important it is to have open discussion on social media and how Twitter helps the conversation, and it's really worrying that Uganda has taken these steps, and they do it after basically colluding with other sites, other businesses to completely yeet Trump off the face of the earth.
Yeah, and they also said, like, what was it, 2 days ago or whatever, that it's a human rights violation to ban someone. So, okay, that's interesting. Who is this? Like, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. What's going on at Twitter?
Mm. Well, Trump did say he wasn't going to turn up to the inauguration. It's like who cares about like the Ayatollah talking about wanting to wipe Israel off the face of the earth, or China boasting about their eugenics program for the ego Muslims. Who cares about any? That's all fine and dandy, but Trump not going to an inauguration, well, you can't let that stand. He has to get in line.
Yeah, I mean, the weird thing about that is if he did show up, they would bitch about that too. So I don't know.
It was a lose-lose situation for Trump. I mean, like it's the gracious thing to go to the inauguration, but had he gone there, you still would have got a load of flack anyway. Like there was, but then with Trump, he could bring peace to the Middle East and people would still hate him. You know, like imagine if he did that. Imagine if he helped bring peace to the Middle East. Imagine if he was doing all of that all last year, and you know, and like none of us were paying attention to it. You know, like that would never happen. Not Trump.
We are so far beyond the bounds of like normal political conduct and like normal political rules and just I guess normal societal rules at this point that people keep saying there's a lot of things that aren't possible. Oh, you know, that'll never happen. That'll never happen. That'll never happen. And
but it happens in increments.
Yeah, you say all these things are very, very possible. And like I said, all they're doing really is removing any democratic and even conversational outlets that a very large percentage of the American population has. Like Trump got more votes than Obama did. I mean, I know it was a very different election, and you know they claimed that Joe Biden got as many votes as he did, and it all seems kind of preposterous. But even leaving all that aside, Trump got more votes than Obama did, and they're now saying that anyone who wears a Trump cap or that the MAGA movement, quote unquote, itself is going to be designated as a terrorist movement. There's bills in the House for that already. I don't think they know what they're dealing with when it comes to that. I think people think that the Capitol assault was kind of the height of all of this. But as 2020 taught us, you ain't seen nothing yet, generally. It's people keep thinking things are gonna calm down. It's not gonna calm down.
No.
It's not gonna calm down until you make it calm down.
I think that I really think that we're on the full-on exhilarationist path now. I mean, I knew that when Biden was talking about, you know, like healing and unity, that it was a complete like crock of shit. And then especially when you look at the way that AOC has acted since
but she's a crazy person. She's certifiable.
She's something else. Like, you know, last year she was talking about how, you know, riots is the voice of the people, and you know you need to be able to intimidate those in power. But then when it happens to her, she goes, you know, it's just full mask off. So she's been squawking at multiple different conservatives, including Ted Cruz, saying, you know, you all incited violence. You should be, you need to be arrested. You need to be forced to resign. When, you know, like when Democrats openly endorsed the violence last year. You had Nancy Pelosi all throughout Trump's term, you know, saying that there was definitely, you know, it was definitely a dodgy election. You know, like she made that very clear in 2017. You know, she's made comments about, you know, maybe people should be effectively like, you know, coming out and rioting against the Trump regime. The Democrats have no leg to stand on, but of course they work on a different set of morals, and this is something which is one of my biggest problems with the left, and it's one of the reasons why I have kind of become a little bit disillusioned with even the kind of stuff that I do on my channel, because everything nowadays just has to be polarizing. You have to be like treating the other side as though they're absolute scum, and there seems to be. At this point, like I feel at the lowest that I have with politics in, like, you know, since I started being interested in it back when I was in high school, I've never known anything like it, where everyone just wants to get at each other, and it seems to be escalation after escalation, and this is going to end up somewhere bad. And I'm more convinced now than ever that is what's going to happen. I mean, you have AOC saying things like this: Southern states are not red states; they're suppressed. And they need to be liberated in order to heal the United States. So, you know, like she's openly talking about states which have, you know, very, very clear cultures. You know, like they've always voted a particular way because they have a set of morals that they believe that the Republican Party represents. But no, deep down, all of these they're actually just progressives, but they need to be liberated from the evil GOP. You know, it's a real out of touch socialist thing to claim. And it's something that socialists love to be able to talk about people who they effectively despise. You know, you'll have people like Owen Jones talking about the white van man of the UK. You know, like you're like, you know, your average Baz who just wants to go down the feathers, neck a couple of Carling, and plan the next nonce bashing. Like just wholesome
Okay,
activity.
that was a lot of Brit speak there.
So Barry likes to go to the pub and have a couple of drinks where he and his friends will plan out assaulting a paedophile.
All right.
Essentially.
That makes it make more sense. But yeah,
But he also delivers
north-
stuff for Amazon, and people don't recognize that. Yeah.
It's Big Baz, No nonsense, no nonsense. It's
Yeah.
simple as.
Right, it's just Joe Sixpack.
Greg's nationalist.
Oh god, I need to put that. Sorry, quick tangent and a little bit of shilling.
Yeah,
I need to put that in my mind's bio again, because since Parler turned out to be the honeypot, a lot of people thought it was, including me. Even though I use the service, I never put any kind of information on there. I was always very careful what I posted. A lot of people are back on Minds.com, which is actually much better. It's the best of the bunch. It is the best of the bunch, in my opinion, in terms of the old.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's always been.
Yes.
Speaking of Minds, look, I have Minds. I'm on Minds. I've got 125 subscribers already. I posted about seal of approval, and I've noticed, this I'm really confused about. So Dev is verified on Minds somehow. It just kind of happened to him.
Oh, just happened.
He
I
doesn't.
I think I'm verified there.
How do you get verified there?
Yeah,
I have no idea. I've been on mine
I-
since day one. I've never been verified.
Yeah,
I just asked Phil Ottman.
why is this happening? How
No,
do
but
they
I just
verify?
said-
How do they verify it's him?
You could talk to the guy who owns the shit. I talked to him and asked him,
Oh.
okay, and he was like, oh yeah, sure.
That would probably make sense.
Now you've said
I
that
feel-
online, he's going to get battered with.
Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, he.
Verified.
But yeah, he. It seems like a really nice interface, a much nicer interface than Parler ever was. So I never really liked the way that Parler felt. It always felt very janky. And like someone said, I'm really glad. I never gave them my, my passport, driver's license, or any identifiable information.
No.
So they didn't have my, especially as I've heard, it's been hacked. So all they're going to get is things that I posted on Parler, which is basically things that I post on Twitter anyway.
Yeah.
I always treated it exactly the same. So,
sometimes I remember to when I posted something on Twitter, I'd do a copy paste onto Parler. That was about it.
Yeah. I mean, there's no coming back for Parler at this point. I mean, even if they do find another place to host it, I think that the hack is just.
But the problem with Parler was, like you say, the user interface. It was so fucking weird to figure out conversations or talk to people or on Twitter, it's very natural to see the next reply come up and the next reply and the next reply if you're having a conversation with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
On Parler, it's just I don't know who's saying what and what have I already read and.
Yeah, it feels like, especially when you kind of follow it like this, it feels a lot like Twitter. I do really like the some more people to follow. But yeah, I do like the feel of Minds. I want to try and move away from Twitter. I think Twitter is quite toxic, and I know I had a run-in with the mob of Contra's mob last week, which did kind of make me rethink a little bit. Do I really want to be on this hell site all the time when I have thousands of people attacking me. You know, like it's just the fact that it constantly like, pops up on your phone as well. Like it's not great. It's not a great feeling.
Turn
And so
off notifications immediately.
I know, but like I'm still kind of.
Now, Rose, be like Tyler. Remember
Yes.
Tyler? Be like
Yeah.
Tyler.
I know. Like you know, I've moved on. It's all in the past. Although I will say that, just as a PSA for people, never apologize on the internet. Take it from me, never apologize.
No,
Even
never.
if you think that you've done something wrong, as I thought, you know, I thought that my comment was below the bar. Like, you know, that's why I apologize. Don't do it, because the point when people say don't apologize, it's not about a point of principle. It's because when people see that apology, first of all, they will never accept it. But second of all, it's basically, imagine the tweet is like a chip pan fire or a grease fire, and the apology is the water.
It's basically blood in the water for the sharks.
Yeah.
You're showing weakness, and they then get strong.
Yeah, it just becomes brutal. Like that.
No matter
so,
how
like,
many art colleges you close, don't apologize.
yeah,
Quite.
like that's it. Like it doesn't matter what. Like and that's honestly, in a way, that's another thing which is kind of toxic about social media. My takeaway throughout the whole thing is just simply never apologize, and like that shows a real decay of society. I think. Like
because you couldn't go through real life without ever apologizing when you're being an asshole.
Yeah.
But in that, you know, when you apologize in real life, people will be like, okay, well, I guess that's okay then. I forgive you.
Yeah.
But on social media, it has the opposite effect. It just throws chum in the water, and the sharks come. And Jesus.
And like it's such a that was kind of a wake up for me, because that is a really toxic way of living your life, because it leaves you with the wrong, you know, with kind of like the wrong outcome of it, because it teaches you, like, even if you do make a mistake, like just you have to double down on it. You have to, and like that's, and you know, if we're to kind of be in a society where, you know, we're supposed to come together, you know, we live in a society, but like where people can come together and discuss differences. And one of the lessons that you learn is like, actually, if you mess up and, you know, you apologize for it, people will come at you 10 times as hard.
Right.
Like that is a really toxic message to learn.
Yeah,
You mentioned smartphones earlier, and the impact that has. I have a whole thing, and I've said it a few times. I need to put it into some kind of actual long form content, because like smartphones are really what killed the internet, because it brought in all the normies, and normies don't realize that the internet isn't real. Like none of this is really like they bring it into real life constantly, going after jobs, going after all that. Twitter isn't real. None of this is real. None of this is actually really happening. It's all people at a desk creating video or words or whatever on a screen. It isn't fucking real, and nobody can seem to realize that. That's how I always use Twitter. I always use Twitter like it's like the joke about Twitter chat, but like Twitter wasn't real. My social media persona was not real. None of that is real. That's why people make heinous jokes. That's why the internet used to be such a freeing and wonderful place, because everyone on it knew that what they did really didn't carry any weight, because it's on the internet and it's not real.
It's not.
And they decided to bring it into reality.
Yeah, and again, none of this helps that we now live in a time where we can't actually just go outside. Like, you know, like it used to be like, you know, you want to break from the internet, fine, go outside, go live your life.
Go out
like
and
now
play.
it's like, no, you go out. Oh, except if you go outside, you'll kill grandma. So what you have to do instead is go back inside, sit at your phone, and get angry. And this is making our society healthier somehow. God damn it! I hate so much. Like, just God damn it! It's just things are just so shit. Things are just so shit, and this is what it's all kind of come down to. Like, that there's almost like they made a situation where there's no kind of escape from it.
That's almost insidious.
It is.
What I would tell people really is that things are only shit if we let them be shit.
Mm.
Like, if you don't have to go out and protest. You don't have to go out and disappear into the woods with a fucking SKS or something like a lot of people seem to want to be doing. But like, you can just not. You can just keep living your life. And like, there's a great statistic out there that something like 96% of crime doesn't even go unsolved; it goes unnoticed. It goes unreported. It goes completely unnoticed. So if you decide to break the lockdown rules, you have an extremely high percentage chance of success, unless you're an idiot about it. You don't I've largely been ignoring a lot of this.
Right.
I mean, the work situation kind of sucks. I've cut down my expenditures, but I'm not going into my savings. I'm living okay. And I'm doing what I want. I'm going out for long walks. I'm going places when I want to. I'm seeing who I want to. A lot of it is a lot of the problems I've encountered to do with logistics and like the feasibility issues that a lot of the lockdown knock-on effects have been happening.
Yeah.
As much as I can, I've just been living normally. And I think that's been very helpful. A lot of people get into the mindset and it really becomes self-enforcing. Like
right. That's a good point.
I don't experiment. Like I've been in stores. Like sometimes I'll wear a mask, just because I go in places regularly. But a lot of times I can't be bothered. I just won't. No one said anything. There's people here. I'd say at least half of the people at certain times of day. It seems to vary by time of day. In shops here aren't wearing masks. They just don't care. And a lot of people, I've running to conversations with, even like especially older people, they just don't care. They seem really unhappy with it, and they just, as much as they can, ignore it. And that's really what's started happening. Like they only have power over you if you let them. And yes, they can make your life more miserable, but there are alternate ways of building things that don't involve playing by their rules. Like you can just not listen to them.
What about driving? Can you go out for a drive?
It's this. Well, so this is the thing. You're not supposed to, but I mean, it's something which I've been doing. Like you go, because if they want to, the thing is, the police can't pull you over for breaking lockdown, but they can pull you over for a general driving infraction. So
sure,
which they've always been able to do anyway. So
of course,
as long as you're not making a driving infraction, you got no reason for them to pull over. Then they legally they can't pull you over for it. And so that is one of the things which I've been doing. I have been going on more drives, which especially because I've got my car's not great. I'll be honest. Like it's just a cheap one that I got after I left London. I'm gonna get a better one when I can afford it. But like it's fine to drive around in and just listen to some music, go for a long drive.
Oh yeah, I love.
It's quite relaxing. I find it really relaxing.
Yeah. Driving is one of my favorite things, apart from the fact that I get followed by the police everywhere.
I'm a good driver, so I don't.
I'm a good driver. I just have one of those cars that the police hate.
Sorry, you drive what?
Sorry, what?
You drive what?
I'm not gonna. Let's just say it's a car that is usually associated with boy racer types.
You got
like a little Japanese racer or something.
Along those lines, yeah. It's noisy and could go very, very fast if I were.
Right.
To
gotcha.
Right, so some more super chats have come through. So Charity with the £4.99, thanks, love. Speaking of Discord, shout to Rose of Discord. That's my Discord channel. Rose, did you see the HSBC threatening to close people's bank accounts for not wearing a mask? Well, that's a very convenient question to pop up whilst we're talking.
That's funny. Go back a year and you get thrown out of a bank for wearing a mask.
Yeah. I don't think that I personally, like, I know HSBC are threatening it. Personally, I don't think it's one of those difficult things, because technically they can do it, because they can shut your account down for any reason and not tell you. But it's like whether they will actually go ahead and do it. I think a bank isn't really going to be that trigger happy about closing people's accounts, and will just do it because that person didn't wear a mask. Like, they're probably saying that because they would tie in kind of harassment or something alongside it. I don't think it would just be a case of you walk into a bank without a mask and they'd be like, "Oh, excuse me, put on a mask." You say no, and they're like, "Right, that's it. We're closing your account." That would cause a lot more headache for them than I think it's worth. Especially with Scrump saying that more and more people now aren't wearing masks, and whilst around where I live, like a lot, like the vast majority of people are like indeed wearing masks, but people are like having friends round at their houses and stuff, and there's a lot, especially in my block of flats, there's a lot of that going on.
Right.
I think everyone's had people round at their places, so so people aren't bothering with it in different ways. Like here, people wear the masks, but it's just everything else that you just don't really care about. I mean, hell, I technically broke lockdown when I went to see my parents over Christmas because it's supposed to be, the whole, like they have these like support bubble things, and you're only supposed to have one family, like one other person in it. But because me and my brother live in different households, we were just like, yeah, fuck it. It's just stupid. It's just a really stupid thing that we have to kind of plan all this stuff in advance. So
to use Boris Johnson's own words, to do this would be inhumane.
Yes.
And then they went ahead and did it.
Yep.
What was he talking about?
Cancelling Christmas.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Everyone's spoken.
Sorry. Yeah. It was to do with him basically cancelling Christmas and New Year with the lockdown.
EC90 with the £2. The shops say they're going to start banning now. So yeah, I think that's connected to the mask thingy. Like apparently there's been some places like Tesco and Morrison's that have really clamped down on it, where if you turn up without wearing a mask, they will just ban you from the store. But apparently there's other ones where they're just not giving a shit. So I think it kind of depends on how reasonable it is that the person you're dealing with. If someone's on a power trip, they're going to absolutely use that as an excuse to.
But I mean, that's fine. I mean, right now I probably have to put on a mask for most places, but you know, I can still go places. I don't have to, go out 1 hour or some shit. You know what I mean? So that's the real problem, isn't it? I mean, as long as you don't have to actually wear it outside also.
Yeah. I mean, that's where my problem with it lies. Like the mask I've got is actually, I bought a quite nice one. Really geeky of me. Basically, it's a mask from a company that composes music for theme parks.
Okay.
But they had a really, really nice cotton face mask, and it's actually quite comfy to wear, and because you can have it quite loose, like it doesn't get like foggy or like really uncomfortable like a lot of the string ones do. So I don't mind wearing it that much. So I'd wear it in a shop, but like I wouldn't wear it outside.
No,
like fuck that.
Because that's there's no reason for that.
There isn't. It's just.
They keep talking about science, but okay, I understand it working inside. Surgeons use it, fine. But outside, come on.
And Jordan D with the €5. Hey Rose, what do you think of that? Of the that confidential information regarding the Pfizer vaccine has been leaked? Have you heard anything about it? Well, I saw it being tweeted by Dank a few hours ago, and the only thing that apparently there's been some sort of hack, and the details of the Pfizer vaccine have been leaked to the public. I think it concerns like what the vaccine is made of.
You mean like the formula?
But I would, yeah. So I'd assume then that other companies might be able to steal the secret. They might be able to get the secret formula, make their own Krabby Patties.
Right.
But
secret sauce.
The only thing I know, always the only thing I know, is Dank tweeted about it and said that one of the ingredients is his cum. He likes talking about his cum, as we found out in the Christmas special. But and another one's just popped up. X1. I think I pronounced that right, at the $5. Thank you. Find a nice windy road and give your car a good rip. Slow cars are fun when taken to the limit. Trig, what car? I got a boy racer car myself too. Lol.
I'm not doxing my car.
Yeah.
It's very boy racery. And yes, windy country roads are great fun in
Okay.
Minecraft.
To
Oh, yeah.
anyone in the UK,
I also like desert roads.
desert road. Oh,
I
we don't have
would
any.
love to drive on a desert road.
Same.
Like that's something I want to do this year is actually find some nice roads in like mainland Europe or Scotland. I would say because England itself doesn't have that many great kind of driving roads outside the Lake District.
Oh, there must be great roads up in Scotland, like windy.
Yeah.
roads.
Scotland,
They're all like
Scotland
20
has-
roads though, and they've all have like 1,000 speed cameras.
Oh,
Wales has some great roads. Wales is really like it takes ages to get anywhere in Wales because there's so many hills and farms, but it's a great place to drive. It just takes forever.
they have
used to be
speed
some-
cameras out in the middle of nowhere up in Scotland too.
Yeah, they have them out in the middle of nowhere here. There used to be a really good driving road where I am in the north of England, and then they put like they have these insidious things called an average speed camera. So if it's like a 50, and if you do like 52 miles an hour over the whole of it, they'll fine you. So you have to constantly be watching what your speed is.
Yes, average speed cameras are really, really annoying.
And that was the best driving road around here. It was a really good road. People would go in at night, not really bother anyone. And they lowered it used to be a 60 road. It's now a 50 road.
Yeah.
And they put an average speed check on
How
it
does that
straight
work?
away.
Like with your license plate, or?
Yeah,
Yes.
they have like a license plate reader. And basically they'll measure you like it's not even like every mile. It's like every 300 meters there's one of these fucking cameras. And they look awful. They ruin the countryside. They look terrible because there's so many of them. Trick, I'm sure you've seen this.
Yeah, I'm constantly aware of them. Yes, yeah, and they'll average speed check you as well, and that's it. You're screwed if you've speeded.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah, I want to drive in like Switzerland or something. I want to go somewhere where there's like driving near big mountains.
Oh yeah, and the
That's
Autobahn.
Yeah, I really want to try that out, but my car at the moment is shit, so it would just be embarrassing to go on the Autobahn. Jedi Knight Anna Quinn Cringe Walker with the $10. It's the Roaring 20s, startups and speakeasies. We should call them Coof Softlies or Quarantineties. Demand protection money like a real gangster. Be ashamed if someone reported your gatherings.
I like that up to the last part. No protection money.
Quarantini sounds like a good cocktail to me.
Quarantini. I love that. Teabag with the £2. Trig definitely drives a banged up Vauxhall Nova.
Just not true.
There's loads of these coming in. Jordan D with the €2. Apparently, clinical trial details were also leaked. I think it was like again. I don't know loads about that leak. But yeah, and
It's a little late though. I mean, they've all developed their own ones anyway. So whatever.
most of them have, but there's some that are still in the works. So I imagine that they could use that information if they're, to just copy. I'm sure they'd be able to just copy, or someone will copy.
Well, I mean, it seems far-fetched. So if they do that, someone will just grab one of them things and analyze it and be like, "Oh, lawsuit."
And Pixel with the £5. I used to have to go on 2 to 4 hour long rides in Wales. It was so fun each time, and I loved it. I got bored rarely. It was so awesome there. And so long as you're driving. If you're not driving, then you are basically just looking at sheep for hours at a time. But if you're driving, it's hella fun.
Oh yeah.
Thanks everyone for the super chat so far. I'll read if there any more come in. I'll read them later on. But we've gone massively off topic. But there's something which I wanted. Going back to the basically kind of the real new normal, which is the kind of the deep state coming out of the dark, and this world. One of the big defenses of like Twitter and Facebook from the left has been, they're a private company, they can do what they want. Effectively taking a libertarian's argument, which these people don't believe in anyway, and just making that argument because it's convenient to them at this point.
Well, it's the
in time.
same,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. They're a private company; they can do what they want. Also, they need to do better with hate speech. It's
Yeah.
like, not sure about that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, I thought they could do what they want.
But this story I found quite interesting. Biden voters keep out. Cigar shop owner puts shocking, divisive political sign in store window. Well, it's his shop. He doesn't want them to shop there. Then that's the argument which we're running with, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a private company. He can do what he
Private
wants.
company, he can do what you want. Like, they got lots of comments in here. I find it really, truly appalling. I find it horrible. I find it offensive. I'm a Trump supporter, so if somebody put Trump supporters stay out, I wouldn't, find that a very kind thing to put out. Well, people have already been doing that anyway.
Yeah. I
mean,
mean,
people
I'm not
already-
saying I like it, but Jesus Christ, the hypocrisy. I hate the hypocrisy.
Yeah. I do like this comment, though. I don't want them anyway. I don't want them in there, and I don't have to pretend that they have respect for me. So I'm going to show disrespect for them. I mean, he's not wrong. These people
No,
don't respect him.
If Twitter can do it, he can do it.
Yeah. That's the world which we now live in. If you are allowed to get rid of people because of their political views, and you're allowed to say that they can't open bank accounts because of what they've said online or because of who they've voted for, and you're going to make their organizations and their movements into, basically becoming illegal, there's still that ability to have that flipped on the people who advocate it. That's the kind of the moral of the story. I would rather we live in a world where, people weren't banned from shops, dependent on who they supported, who they voted for. I would rather that. But the thing is, that has been a reality for a while.
Sure.
And so it's at this point, I can't really say, oh no, this cigar shop owner, he's completely unwrong. This is absolutely outrageous, because the other side are just doing it anyway. They don't care. They think it's fine when if it's banning Trump supporters, that's fine. That's cool.
Yeah.
They're free to do that. So it kind of becomes, again, like, my principle is always like, no, you shouldn't be banning people for it. But you eventually end up to this almost like black-pilled point where what's the use? If they're doing it, if they're down in the mud, we're outside of the mud, all what's happening is that mud's being thrown at us as we stand there. And I just hate that. I hate that has to kind of be almost like an apt analogy for what's going on.
It's not that it's hypocrisy. I think we move very far beyond hypocrisy. It's that there is a core of people who are willing to do anything to bring about their political utopia into reality, and that no price is too high for what they want to achieve. It's not just hypocrisy. This is well established and well planned. It's not just them applying the rules conveniently so that it doesn't hit people they like. This is orchestrated. This is an orchestrated plan to completely destroy anybody who has political thought outside the norm. It isn't hypocrisy. This is functioning as intended. They know what they're doing. They have always known what they're doing. They've known what they're doing for years. And any kind of idea that we can debate the left, that if we just, there's this grand idea that people had in 2014, 2015, that if we just show the left how bad their ideas are, if we just communicate to them in the right words how they need to change their thinking, that go, oh yes, I was so misguided. That's wonderful. It's like, no, these people want to kill you. They want you locked in your home. They want your children.
I also don't like the hyperbole.
What?
Like, who's trying to kill you?
What do you mean who's trying to kill you?
I don't really see any. I don't feel any threat towards my life. But am I stupid?
The statements on social media people have made is that they want their political opposition dead.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to come and kill you. I'm saying that what they say themselves is they want you dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I came up with a phrase the other day that now the avalanche has started, it's pointless trying to ask the pebbles.
I mean, sure, people have wished me death on social media numerous times. I've just never really taken it seriously.
I mean, I think all of us have probably received wishes of death.
It's not just some psycho online saying, "Oh yeah, go die, lol." It's the fact that they are saying fundamentally that what they want to do to you, they want to remove your employment, they want to remove your housing, they want to remove you from any kind of job or system that you can inhabit. They are saying it very openly.
And it's
Does-
not just that's not just them say. Just to clarify, that's not just them saying it. They're openly making. They openly take
They're
action.
doing it. What is the
Oh yeah, that stuff. Holy shit! I mean, the amount of weird things they can do to you nowadays, just for having wrong things is unbelievable.
I don't think it's hyperbole to say that a lot of these people want you dead when we saw months ago Trump supporters shot in the streets in Portland for being Trump supporters. These people want you dead. And they will willingly pull the trigger themselves. That is how zealot they have become. And I don't think it's hyperbole. I think saying that, people will never have, years ago, but people will never have their insurance canceled, their bank accounts taken away because of what they said on the internet. That's stupid. You're a conspiracy theorist. You're a right-wing nutjob, but yet here we are. Like I've been saying, it's not hyperbole to say that people are being killed in the streets because of what they believe in. And there are people cheering that on. And they're saying, well, maybe they shouldn't have been a pee-pee-poo-poo Trump supporter Nazi. That is a prevailing opinion, especially after what happened at the Capitol. They're saying those people deserve it. You can argue about the legitimacy of it all day, but they walked into a building and they didn't burn it down. They didn't go around randomly shooting senators and senators' aides. It was effectively still a protest, not an ideal one. And there's a huge amount of people foaming at the mouth saying that the police should have just opened fire and shot them. No, I will keep saying it. These people want you dead, and you have to behave towards them like they want you dead. Otherwise, you're just going to get stuck in this quagmire of, well, maybe if we just debate the left a bit better. We are so far beyond that at this point. We are so far beyond that. If you look at what's been
I just worry about people, like the thing about, people have always been saying that.
But now they're doing it.
Just bear in mind who the people are that are doing it as well. These people are hardcore communists. They're Maoists. They're Stalinists. They're
I just don't believe that.
And we have seen what these people do when they get into power. They do put you against the wall. They do shoot you in the head, and they do gulag your family.
Of course they do. If they get into power, I just don't see them getting into power. But
7 days time, mate. 7 days time.
I don't think that they'll get in power. I think that
Biden isn't a communist. He may be a lot of things, but he's not a communist.
No,
I think that a lot of the they are ideological zealots, though. It's not about Biden. It's about the machine he brings with him. It's about his, hand in glove relationship and the kind of unspoken wink and nod the Obama administration had with the CIA and FBI that they have a
now,
blank.
If AOC became of age and ran and won, then I'd be worried.
The only difference between AOC and a lot of other Democratic operatives and senators and congressmen is that they keep their mouths shut. They have better optics and they have better PR people. I think we've learned that now. We've learned, like I said, there's bills going through Congress.
I guess I'm just a fucking optimist, and I have a hard time letting that go.
Plus, you're hot for it, but
I'm not saying the majority of Democrats want you dead. I'm saying that a lot of the people you see on social media, a lot of the activists, a lot of the people now who've had their voices brought to the forefront, who are being brought into the political fold after what's happened now, they do.
Right, because we can look historically. We've always had an election every 4 years, and every 4 or 8 years we switched power between our two parties, and it's worked. If someone fucks up too badly, they get voted out early, and et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. It's just I'm not ready to give up on the American system.
I'm not saying you should give up on the American system. I'm saying that what's happening is a lot of people are arguing in good faith, and they think that they can change something when they don't realize the motivations of their opposition. That when you talk to somebody who's openly saying Antifa, that person doesn't want to debate you; they want to kill you.
Yeah. Those people are too far gone.
Yeah, I think that it's important to kind of distinct your normies who just say whatever is popular and your actual hardcore activists. Like I definitely am in agreement with Scrump that these people, if they got their way, I mean, they often talk about, if the Nazis get into power, they're going to kill everyone. But really, that in itself is kind of a projection, because when you look at the ideologies that these people follow, the kinds of people who they idolize, I mean, like, hell, there's people, like, just look at people like Vosh, for example. He doesn't really kind of hide what he would like to do if his side got into power. These people are fairly open about it.
Sure.
So you've got to kind of have that understanding of, if they got, like, they're not coming at this at an honest angle. They don't want to have any kind of discussions. What they a mantra which I've heard a lot is there's no bad tactics, only bad targets.
Right.
It's that whole by any means necessary.
The what is it? Olinsky rules or something?
Yeah. The other angle I'll take, and I'll get off this topic afterwards, is that even the political normies, especially on the Democrat side within their bubbles, have been pumped full since 2015 of this message. Every single day they've been told that Trump is Hitler and his supporters are Nazis, and the equivalent of Trump is Hitler's supporters are Nazis. Trump is Hitler's supporters are Nazis. So
yeah, and that's where I get my aversion to hyperbole from.
Yeah, but they're the ones calling for synergy between state and corporations, which I don't know if you've looked into fascism, but
yeah.
Mussolini said exactly that.
I get it. Yeah.
These people have been conditioned.
It is ironic.
Every
It's
day,
more than ironic. It's horrifying.
Are in an active danger to their continued existence. And when I say that those people want you dead, it's because they have been absorbing that rhetoric for 5 years. They have been being told that anyone who is a Trump supporter is a literal Nazi. And what is the logical extension of that when it comes time for any kind of, political conflict? Is it going to be that they want to debate them, or is it going to be that they think, well, I'm going to do what Grandpa did, I'm going to kill me some Nazis? That's the mindset it breeds in people. And that's why I think that yes, be optimistic, but you have to realize that a lot of people who live in these bubbles have been told every single day that you are a literal monster. Yeah. And the world would be a better place without you in it.
It's like when you talk to hardcore Remainers. If you kind of look at it from a Brexit angle, the people who I know who are really hardcore pro-EU have very little interaction with anyone who voted to leave the EU outside of them going on comment sections of the likes of the Express. And so they will get the idea in their head that everyone who voted leave didn't know what they were voting for. They are all stupid. They are all racist. They are all fascists. They are people who shouldn't be able to vote. And again, this a lot of Remainers, hardcore Remainers, are actually just generally normies. Right. Otherwise, and outside of Brexit, they're not hugely political, but for some reason, Brexit is the angle that they always like to push. And the toxic idea of your opponent as an inhuman monster has always been common in the left. They've always pushed.
Yeah, but that's why I don't want to adopt it.
I'm not saying that they're inhuman monsters. I'm saying that they wish harm on you because of the overwhelming pressure of the media environment.
Yeah, I think
it's cult-esque.
It feels
exactly like a cult.
It feels like this didn't exist to the same extent before social media. So again, we get back to that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's all of it kind of comes back to social media as being the real monster here.
Yeah,
it's a lot of the rise in radicalism over the last decade has really gone hand in hand with the toxic way in which social media is pushed at you at every waking hour. You can't really escape it. You can't escape other people's opinions. You can't escape the hate mobs. You can't escape any of this kind of rhetoric unless you just completely disconnect yourself from where the new society lives, which is online, and go step outside, which, isn't allowed.
Yeah, which is
anymore, which is shit. But I it's why I'm wanting to kind of launch a secondary YouTube channel and kind of I want to still talk about politics and stuff because I think it's important. But at the same time, one kind of revelation I've had is politics is unbelievably toxic. It's only going to get more and more toxic. And especially if we're going to be spending more and more of our lives online, we need de-radicalizing isn't necessarily, oh, you need to shove another political view in their face. Instead, it's having a wholesome interest. It's having something which defines you that isn't just a political ideology. And I'm becoming more and more convinced that that's the kind of thing which is needed more than,
I agree.
say, lecturing everyone on yet you have the wrong views. And like, you know, I still want to do kind of videos and discuss topics that interest me. I still want to do this podcast. I mean, like this show will probably last a lot longer than videos I do because I love doing it. I love chatting to people about this, and it feels good to talk about, openly get these ideas out in the air and talk about it. I really enjoy doing that. But I think that we also really need to remember that there is a life outside of all this kind of toxic divide in politics, that there are still things that people are interested in out there, whether it's nature, whether it's films or television or video games or just anything. And like,
I don't understand why, since they curate the trending lists anyway, why don't they push more positive things or at least something else? Because right now I have the trending list in front of me. 4 out of 5 is politics.
Yeah. Like I don't see why we couldn't just have, you know, like there's that whole like there's that kind of old saying that, you know, like bread and circuses. Just give people bread and circuses and they'll be subdued. And you'd think that that's kind of the angle they'd want to push, but instead it's more of like, oh, this awful thing has happened in the world. Like we got to fight about it. The other side is scum because their political party did this.
A certain amount of bread and circuses isn't bad.
Yeah. We kind of need it.
Is the bread and circuses. Here's something that I've realized, certainly over this last year has been highlighted heavily, but for the longest time, what we're looking at with the COVID, with Trump, with Biden, etc., it is still bread and circuses, because behind the scenes, classic example in England at the moment, we've got a law going through Parliament. It's about to actually become actual law. It's going to head to royal assent probably by February, which is the ability for police officers and other state officials to break the law in the course of their duties.
Yeah,
it's horrifying. Yeah.
Yes,
I'll send you the details, dude. It is absolutely terrifying.
It's something called, what is it? It's
the Covert Human Intelligence Bill.
Covert Human Intelligence Bill, yeah, and it is a bill that basically gives a blank check for any kind of public servant. What is it? It even includes like the Environment Agency, things like that.
Environment Agency, really gambling agencies, yes.
They're allowed to undertake any kind of criminal activity, up to and including murder, in the course of their duties.
They really want that 007, don't they?
Yeah, no, literally the Parliament's Human Rights Committee said this is a license to rape, torture, murder, and we need to change it, and they pushed it to one side and went, we're carrying on with that anyway.
It'd be like if Congress passed a law that said EPA agents could murder you in your sleep if it was in the course of their duties or in the course of an investigation. That is essentially what is being passed in the UK Parliament right now.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
This is why we need more wholesome content to kind of, because there's not a lot we can really do about all of this anymore, because everything's so much at fire. Everyone's so outraged about everything that it doesn't even feel like you can get coordinated about individual issues.
No, exactly, because there's so much shit going on that nobody's listening, because there's something else that is in 5 seconds there'll be something else.
So I think at this point, I think we actually need some good news.
Yes,
I really think we need some good news.
Don't look at me; I ain't got shit.
Oh, but
I'm the guy sat here screaming, "People want you dead." So
this show is called Seal of Approval, and so we need to live up to the first part of that name and actually give some real good news. Record number of seal pups born at Donanook in 2020, and now and look at him.
Oh, he's so fuzzy,
adorable.
Look at him. He's just on the beach.
I love seals.
Oh, seals. Oh, look. Look. Oh, they are just the most precious.
Sea puppies.
They are genuinely my favorite animals on the planet. Like
Yeah,
they're absolutely amazing creatures. Like they're unbelievably cute, but the way in which they live, like the way in which they use their whiskers to find fish up to a mile away. You have seals that dive like deeper than whales.
yeah, I mean they're my favorite animal too. That's why I keep tagging my girlfriend into all your seal tweets.
Oh, that's quite wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm actually working on a video of my top 10 favorite seals.
Yes, we need this.
Yes,
What we
do
need.
it, do it.
Yes.
Oh, look at him in the sun there. Look at him in the sun. He's just basking.
And here's one with Mummy. And look at look at him. And look at all those seals in the
Oh
field.
wow, are they all seals? Jesus.
All those are seals. See, this is some of the good stuff that's happening in the world. So the first pup of the season arrived at 3 p.m. on October 22nd last year, and with the last being born on December 22nd. And that's over 2,000 grey seal pups.
Where is Donna Nook anyhow?
Donna Nook is in Lincolnshire.
Okay, yeah, okay. Where in the UK?
It's kind of northish. It's on the east coast.
East Coast, okay.
Yeah.
It's like north/middle. It's one of those places in the UK that even people in the UK don't quite know where it is.
Yeah.
Right.
So we needed some good seal news, but because we've been talking about such depressing topics, I think that we might actually need double seal news.
Oh, later on his
Double
Let's
seal
have it.
news.
I have a mighty
Seals. Signed, sealed, delivered. Seal pup who was found severely injured on a beach is transported to safety in 400-mile Mercy Dash. So look at her.
Look at that. That is a
Like,
cute seal.
So she is a harbor seal. Harbor seals are one of the two seal species that are native to the UK. Grey seals are the other ones. So harbor seals are the smaller ones of the two. But I actually think harbor seals are the cuter ones. So she got to go in a plane. She is in a little crate.
Mm-hmm.
She's getting on the plane. Look, she's on the plane.
Oh,
Look, she's on the plane.
She's like, what the fuck's going on?
She got to go on a little adventure. And there she is getting off the plane.
Yeah.
And there she is now. Her
she must
recovery.
be one of the only seals. She must be one of the only seals that's ever been in an aircraft. That's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Well, over here it's quite rare, but in Alaska, lots of seals go on airplanes because there are there's specific centers that are set up to look after different seals, and sometimes these seals are going on 500-mile journeys on airplanes. They get a drink and stuff before they get on the plane. I was watching a documentary earlier where a baby ringed seal had actually been given pink Gatorade before the flight, and he ended up around his mouth was all stained pink. The reason why he was given Gatorade is because of all the sugar in it. Because the seal was quite dehydrated. It was really beneficial for him to have it to make sure that he is nice and healthy. But these animals, they're just so brilliant. Whenever I'm feeling down, whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed by everything, I just get a good
They look so much like dogs. That's why I like dogs, because they look like seals.
That's it. They're basically like the way I see it, dogs are seals of the land and seals are dogs of the sea.
Yeah.
Seals are just what happens if you leave a dog in water too long.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why dogs don't like bats.
I want my legs. Damn it.
So Vera, the baby harp seal, baby harbor seal. Sorry, Vera, the baby harbor seal, is our seal of the week, and so now I forgot to make the straw poll. Apologies. So now it's time to vote for who you think deserves the seal of approval this week. So type in the name of the person who you think deserves that high honor, whether it's myself, Undoomed, Trigger, or Scrump. So go.
Chat, my dudes, votes in chat, please.
Go chat. Like next week, I'll make sure that there's the straw poll. The straw poll will be back next week. I promise the straw poll will be back next week. I just, yeah.
But yes, you know what else will be back next week? Well, we're shilling. Starman and the Boomer will be back next week.
Yes.
We'll be back on a regular scheduled Thursdays. Like I said, I've been busy over Christmas. We were supposed to do a roundup of the year, which we may still do at some point. We may still do a little 2020 roundup, but I had a couple of internet outages and then I was a bit sick, so that ended up not happening. But the show is not cancelled. The show will go on. Just like eventually Dev will release, like, I think it's now 4 unreleased episodes of Dumping with Trump.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He's not put out yet. So, okay, his monetization thing has been in like ridiculous limbo. He's been remonetized, but no, he's actually not. It's weird. It's like a back end thing. They've remonetized him, but he's not remonetized. It's a whole like the network who's helping him has never seen that before. Like some unique shit's happened to him, so he's having a bit of a weird one. But it will be back. Scrump is not candy. That will be back, and as you can see, I'm here on seal of approval, so I haven't disappeared. Like you don't make content for 2 weeks, and everyone just assumes you're dead.
Right.
I'm having.
Imagine what they think I am.
I mean,
I should point out to those who are listening that there is a new video that has already been uploaded and will be published probably this weekend.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
I'm just making sure I get no hits from the bots and all that. So it's got to sit there for a couple of days and see if they find anything objectionable.
To tide us over, can you just say, "Listen, you moron"?
What? Listen, you moron?
Oh no. Okay, I'll have to wait for the no. Sorry, it's a little bit of a meme with a couple of people because very occasionally you're like, "Listen, you moron." It's really funny. I think you do it really well, and it's kind of like a little repeating thing. I don't know. Yeah. It's like Tim Pool and talking about the fact that he worked for Vice 7 times.
Right. Well, you want to clip it?
I'll find it at some point. I watch it now. You've only ever said it like twice, and I'm just picking up on something that isn't there. But
I don't know whether it's. I think it's almost a tie between me and Undoomed. I think. But guys, what do you think?
I've not been reading chat.
Sorry, what?
Looking through chat.
See who gets the seal of approval.
Scrump. I'm seeing a lot of Scrump. No,
a few Undoomed. Good grief!
I have no idea. It seems like it's like even, honestly, with reading this.
Just had to put the seal back on.
I honestly want to. Let me do a little bit of counting here. This Trig. I'm doomed. Trig. Scrump. Rose. I'm doomed. It seems really even.
Everybody wins. Everyone gets the seal of approval.
That's really communist of you.
No. It's a common core seal of approval. So
yes. Awesome. So with that, I think we've come to the end of the show. But before we do so, does anyone have anything else? I think you've all done your shilling.
Yeah,
I think you've all done. Yeah. But is there anything else that you want to shill?
Follow me on Twitter, I guess.
I may have another roleplay game going off with Uzulu, but we're not sure if that's even going to be streamed or recorded at this point. So maybe I shouldn't say anything.
Yeah, I'll remind people that I am on Minds. I am trying to make Minds happen. So
yeah, I'm gonna try and make Minds happen and kind of move away from Twitter because Twitter is a bit toxic. But Minds seems quite nice, and so I have 191 subscribers. I'll post seals on there. Like even in my description, I've got like the first thing it says seal connoisseur. because that's what I'm known for now.
Let me make sure I'm subscribed to you.
Thank you. So yeah, with that, I'd like to thank my wonderful guests, Undoomed and Trig. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and also, of course, my trusty co-host, Scrump.
Hey, let me just finish the stream with a nice Sam Hyde quote here.
Yes.
Sam Hyde quote.
Oh, no.
It kind of sums up my points to this stream. I guess I'm a bit spicy, but when we win, don't forget that these people want you broke, dead, your kids raped and brainwashed, and they think it's funny. Thank you, Sam Hyde. Very topical. Although it is made out in 24.
God. Right. Okay. I'm gonna have to put on the seal again. We need to end it on a.
I hope they can hear us when you play the video, because I know there's some videos where it just cuts the audio.
Yeah, like there's a countdown one where it says it mutes the mic. I think this one doesn't. It doesn't pop up that saying the mic is muted.
Right. Okay.
So I
guess if there's no audio in the file, it doesn't mute us.
Yeah. And nobody in the chat is saying that we were muted, so
No,
I think that's
yeah.
fine. So yeah, so with that, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm going to try and make another video for the channel soon. It probably will be the top 10 seals, because I fancy doing something a bit more lighthearted before I get back to the old grind. But because I've got a lot of ideas for other stuff to come up, but you know, been very burnt out recently. I know I keep on saying videos are coming. They are coming, but I've got a lot of real life problems as well. So yeah, so there's that. But you always got us. You got a seal of approval. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks everyone for the super chats. Thanks everyone who's been viewing and subscribing. Make sure to follow me on Minds. I'll see you all next time.
Bye.
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 Bye.